Hey everyone, welcome to the Winter Olympics. This session is all about establishing product marketing and being the first product marketer. I'm going to be distilling down 7 lessons that I have gleaned from interviewing some of the top product marketing leaders at the hottest brands out there. I am currently the host of Thrills and Chills. It's all about the highs and the lows of being the first product marketer and establishing the function. And what I do is I interview some of the top product marketers at some of these brands that we've all heard of: Airtable, Figma, DBT, Nextdoor, SalesLoft. It could be a B2C, it could be a B2B. It doesn't really matter. It's all about being the first. And what I've done is in 30 interviews, I'm going to distill it down to 7 lessons for you. So take 30 interviews. How do you distill it down into 30 minutes? That's what this session is all about. I encourage you to take a listen to Thrills and Chills. If you're looking at maybe being the first product marketer, or maybe you want to establish the function, or maybe you're currently doing that, take a listen, because you're going to get access to frameworks, to some of the brightest minds of how are they tackling this problem? How are they thinking through things? What did they do first? What were their challenges? How did they tackle them? You're going to hear very fresh perspectives. So it could be a seed stage company. It could be a late stage Series D company. It could be a public company like Uber. Either way, I'm hoping that you feel less alone. A lot of times when you're the first product marketer and the only product marketer, it's extremely lonely. You have no one to bounce ideas off of, and you're just looking for that community, looking for that network. And I'm hoping that you can have access to these product marketing leaders. So tune in. Take a listen, and I'm hoping that you will learn as much as I have about establishing product marketing. So, with that said, let's jump in to the very first thing. 1, evaluating the opportunity. So, maybe you're peaked. You're thinking, okay, I want to establish product marketing. How do I evaluate if I'm ready? How do I think about the companies? Well, I can tell you this right now, it's terrifying. The first time you establish product marketing, it's terrifying. I remember the first time that I did it. The first time was at Cora, and I was the only product marketer at the time. I was leading the function. I was establishing it, and it's terrifying. They had already had built-in processes, and I'm trying to work myself into it. Even someone like Kevin at Airtable said, hey, this is actually pretty terrifying. So know that you're not alone. And if you're thinking through, I don't know, it sounds kind of risky. Well, understand that there's different levels of risk. So maybe you're at a bigger company over here in the safer side. Well, don't go be a freelancer or a founder where it's way over here on the risky side. Maybe go to the middle. Maybe you're thinking a startup, maybe Series A, Series B. Maybe they've established product marketing fit. They've got good funding. That could be a really good framework. How a lot of marketers have described it to me is something like this. They have this 2x2 framework that they're thinking about the risk and the reward, right? This is what you're ultimately trying to weigh. If there's a high reward, low risk, that's a smart decision. On the other hand, if it's high risk, low reward, stupid decision, right? But there's something in the middle. It's gambling. It's a high risk, high reward, which could be a career maker, or it could be a career loser. Now, that's the real key. How do we evaluate that piece, that component of, is this decision gambling? Here's how they're doing it. They call it the 4 Ps. So a lot of our guests have broken it down into this framework: problem, product, people, personal growth. Let's kind of break each one down. The problem. What is the core problem that this company is trying to solve? Is this problem big enough? Product marketers, we understand things like TAM. We understand, is this a huge problem? Or is it a small problem? If it's a small problem, how many companies would you need in order to really take this startup to the next level maybe, right? It's okay. Maybe you only need 500 customers because you're an enterprise software with $1 million deals. Maybe you have a big problem. right? Maybe it's something like, I need to be able to send asynchronous video. And maybe you got like Loom, 14 million users, right? Understand, is this problem ubiquitous? Is it something that's big enough? Is it something that I understand? That's another key component. Now, let's get into that product. Is the product a good product? Is it capable of meeting that demand? Is it capable of solving the problem? A lot of times we talk about jobs to be done in the product marketing world. Is this product solving the job to be done? Maybe it's not there yet. What's on the roadmap, right? Get into the trial. Get into a demo. Play around with the product. Maybe go in and you can interview some customers that are using the product. Understand that this is going to be your product that you're ultimately marketing. Is it ready yet? Are you ready yet? Do you understand it? Let's take a look at the people. Who are the founders? Have they done this before? What's their background? How about your cross-functional stakeholders? What do they look like? What is their background? Right? Understanding, are you going to get along with them? Are they going to bring a different level of expertise? Are they going to level up you? Also get a really firm understanding if they are, let's say, a startup and they've got venture capital. Go look at their VCs. Understand, have they gone public? What is their track record? And then really get a grasp and a firm understanding of, does your manager, and maybe that's the co-founders, maybe it's the VP, maybe it's a CMO, whatever it may be, what is their view of product marketing? What is their worldview? What is their lens? How do they view this role? Is this role going to be a strategic role? Or is it a tactical implementation? That's going to be key to your happiness. Because it may not be month 1, you're still happy, but in month 3, are you still going to be happy? And then ultimately, be selfish. This is all about you and your personal growth. When you're diving in to be the first product marketer, it's scary. It's going to be chaotic. And you've got to be comfortable in knowing that this is going to be a high risk, potentially high reward, and you're going to grow because of it. So, 4 P's: problem, product, people, personal growth. Fantastic framework. And I love this quote from Brianne over at Nextdoor. If you're already comfortable with this decision, you've waited too long. Take the leap. You're never really going to be ready. Okay, let me repeat that. You're never really going to be ready. So take that leap, jump into it, and that's how you're ultimately going to grow. So that was number 1. Number 2, you've heard this before. Evangelize, evangelize, evangelize the role. But you know why? Nobody understands what you do. Or if they do understand, maybe they already have a preconceived idea of what product marketing is supposed to do, what it should look like. Maybe they've worked at previous companies and this is how they did product marketing, but it may not align with your view of product marketing. So in those first 90 days, evangelize, evangelize. It's what a lot of product marketers that I've interviewed, they are doing road shows. You may have heard this term before, but basically you're going to go around and you're going to explain to everyone and you're going to tell the world you are in product marketing and then this is ultimately what we do. Right? You're going to define it. You're going to go to product meetings, sales meetings. You're going to meet with CS teams. You're going to meet with the leadership team. And you're going to explain, hey, this is our go-to-market strategy. Here's our objectives and our goals. And then here's the outcomes that we're going to be able to achieve now that I'm in the picture. Right? So define product marketing. What is that impact on the sales team? What is your impact on the CS team? How are you going to work with the product team? Align objectives and goals. Super key, right? Evangelize the role, define it, explain the impact, and ultimately align with cross-functional stakeholders on those goals and those objectives where you guys are going to come together and ultimately knock it out of the park. And as Mary said, I want your goal to be telling people, I want people to say, stop, you're over communicating, right? Especially in this world now where a lot of us are working remote. I'm here in Oklahoma City, down in my basement. Our headquarters is in Seattle, right? You have to be a really good communicator and understanding what those channels are. If it's a Slack, is it email? Is it using a Loom, right? Is it setting up a Zoom meeting, right? Whatever it may be, evangelize, tell people, and you'll know when people start saying, okay, I've had it, we know what's happening, right? We know who you are, we understand the role. So, evangelize the role. Let's move on. Number 3, you've got to put points on the board. Super key, okay? So what are those points on the board? Those are those early wins. Now, get those early wins, but don't try to do everything at once. You try to do everything at once and people are not going to like it. Remember, people don't like change. If you come in and try to change too much too quick, you're going to start rubbing people the wrong way. You're going to create a lot of friction. So what are those early wins? It's really those low effort, high value tasks, right? It's another 2x2 grid. Understand, these are the points on the board. Do these now. First 90 days, first 6 months, maybe, but definitely those first 90 days, put those points on the board. This could be something like updating a pitch deck. That could help out the sales team tremendously. And you're going to establish that trust, earn that respect. As someone that's going to come in and roll up their sleeves and get, stuff done. So do those things now. Put those points on the board and understand what might be easy for you could be really difficult for other teams. So we'll focus on those. And if you're trying to understand, what should I tackle versus not, this is a framework that Amazon uses. It's something that I learned when I was there at AWS, leading product marketing, was some decisions are changeable and reversible. Others are consequential and nearly irreversible. So if you've got a two-way door, right, these decisions are changeable, they're reversible, you need to decide quick and act. Those are potentially those points on the board, okay? Now, the other side, one-way doors. You can't walk in, the door shuts. These are nearly irreversible. They have consequences, and these should be made methodically, carefully, slowly, with probably a lot of deliberation and a lot of cross-functional stakeholders involved, all right? So understand, if it's a yes, reversible, try to move quickly. If it's a no, understand, when can I move quickly and when can I not? So this is a classic one-way door, two-way door decision. Understand this when you're trying to get those points on the board. Now, ultimately, you have to be okay with letting some fires burn. Love this from Alyssa. Alyssa is a gold medalist Olympic athlete in softball for Team USA. So an amazing athlete, human, and an even better product marketer. She said, you have to be okay with letting some fires burn. And that looks like this. Those are those do later tasks. They might be low effort, but they're also low value. Or maybe you just have to just let them burn. You can't put out every single fire. If you're always acting and reacting to things, it's going to be really difficult for you to be strategic. It's going to be difficult for you to be putting those points on the board. So be comfortable with this. It takes time and it's difficult. So, number 4, we talked about putting points on the board, evangelizing the role, and understanding if you're ready. Now, let's break into the vision, the strategy, and the tactics. Now, we need a good balance of these things. So the first thing to come in and do is really get that 30,000-foot view of the business. This is what Robin tries to do. In those first 90 days, you need to understand, how does the business work? What are at its fundamental cores? What are the levers that can be pulled to ultimately propel this company forward? It's going to be key for you to understand those things. And if you don't, and they don't have these levers, or maybe they don't have the insights, you need to start documenting this stuff. It's going to be really key for you to have that data and to understand these business levers, because that's ultimately what's going to guide your vision. Now, common mistakes. A lot of our product marketing leaders that I've interviewed have pointed out a couple of things. If you come in and you're all tactics, you're going to be known as the tactical executor. And you're only going to be putting points on the board. And you're going to be stuck here. And it's going to be difficult because you know you can provide more value. You can be strategic. You can lay out a vision for the team, but you're stuck. And this looks like You hear this all the time of like, I'm stuck updating pitch decks. I'm stuck just doing sales enablement content. While extremely important, you want to up-level yourself. So be careful getting stuck in the only putting points on the board. Now, the opposite's also true. If you come in and you're all vision and no implementation, people are going to start asking questions and getting a little bit frustrated of like, when are you going to roll up your sleeves? When is this person going to provide value? So understand that there should be a balance. And this is what a lot of product marketing leaders have said. There have been common mistakes that they've made in their own careers, but they've also seen others do this as well. Find this balance. What is the vision? What is the strategy of product marketing and the product marketing team at your company? And what tactics are going to ultimately, you're going to own and do that's going to fulfill the strategy, right? That's key. And what does this look like? It's this do next. It's really high value, high effort though. And that you need to couple. You need to couple this with the points on the board. You need to be doing these two at the same time, especially in your first 6 months. Those fires, there's always going to be fires. You've got to be comfortable letting them burn. And with your vision and strategy, as April said, you need to map those to the needle movers. What are the levers? What are the growth objectives that your company is trying to hit? Maybe you have OKRs. Align your strategy to help hit those OKRs. So, you've got your vision, you've got your strategy. We need to get some co-champions and we need some supporters. All right? So, once again, Greg said you need to take the time to get to know people and build that trust and add value, right? And this is really important because you need the recognition maybe from like one person who can help spread the word and be your ally on hitting your goals and their goals. So this goes back to that strategic alignment of objectives and goals and really focusing on those needle moving activities. Now, this is not easy. Do not get me wrong. Look at all this. We have all of these cross-functional co-champions. We are working with the product team, the marketing team, the sales team, the customer success team, and around this we have customers as well. How do you get these cross-functional co-champions? It's really important, especially in your first 6 months. Realistically, it probably is going to take you a year to get to this point where people are comfortable with you, that you have their trust, you've earned their respect, and you've built that rapport. Now, LaShawn, she used to be at Figma. She's now the head of marketing at Calixa. And this was her recipe for success. She said, one of the very first things, you have to establish relationships with cross-functional teams. So this is one-on-ones. This is bi-weekly team meetings. This is repetition, 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 coupled with points on the board and vision and strategy. Based off that, you're going to build the trust. You're going to gain that rapport that you are someone they can rely on, they can come to, and you're going to start being included in meetings, and you're going to be hitting your goals. But you're also going to be helping other teams hit their goals. That's key. The last one I thought was really important. She said, define swim lanes, processes, and roles. Now, this is something I have definitely made this mistake. I've come in, I've established the relationships, I've been able to build the trust, but I've failed to really define swim lanes and roles and responsibilities. Key. So, product marketing, we own this. Sales, you own this. Where's the overlap? Where can we focus? Where can we get better? And define those swim lanes. Define the roles of who's doing what and when. Document that into a process. Maybe you've got an internal wiki. Maybe it's just a Google Doc, or maybe you use Asana or Trello, whatever product management tool that you have. Document it. define it. It will extremely help you out. This is the cross-functional side of things. Now, one piece that a lot of people forget, you also need supporters. And those supporters are going to be that executive support. So a typical org structure might look like this. You might be the product marketing director. You report up into a VP. Maybe you've got 2 PMMs underneath you. How are you getting the support of the VP of marketing? Or you're getting that support from the CEO. Maybe it's a co-founder. Maybe it's a CMO. Whatever it may be, don't forget that executive support. It's key. So establish cross-functionally, build that rapport, define swim lanes, and be able to manage up and get that executive support from your VP and your C-suite. That's ultimately what you need for your co-champions and your supporters. Now, you've been here a while, maybe past the 6-month mark. Maybe you're getting closer to that 1 year and you need to start scaling yourself by replacing yourself. I loved this term that one of our guests termed, because ultimately product marketing is the most configurable team. Stacy said this in our interview in Ironclad. So what does that look like? It looks something like this. If you got the size of company and the complexity, how do you know when it's time to hire for your team, right? Maybe you're really starting to think about product marketing as the function when you have a larger company and you have a complex feature set. Maybe you've got 3, 4, 5 products. Maybe you just need the product marketing as a full-time hires. So this is going to be really important to think about as you are building out your team and you are starting to scale yourself as a full-time hire, and you're moving into that function now. You're moving into a product marketing team. Jack over at Smart Recruiters, he said, you need to become very good at hiring because that will translate into your personal success. And this is so key, is hiring. Hiring people that you can trust, hiring people that can come in and get the job done, but also that you don't have to necessarily worry about. Now you might be, training, you might be educating them, but ultimately, you want them to be able to run with certain areas and do it better than you. Because by hiring them, maybe that's a 10x person. If someone could come in and focus on this, I think the impact would be 10x. That's what's going to help you build that business case. And what you want to do when you start to think about scaling yourself is, what is the business need? You need to align your hiring with those business needs. Where's the company going? What's the roadmap? Are we going to be launching another product in 6 months? Okay, well, at that point, there might be a different persona. There might be a different product all of itself. Maybe competition is rising and we need someone to focus just on compete. Think about these things and what does the business need? How do you align it? And I love what Kevin at Airtable said. Become the person that you'd want to work for. It's extremely important. Would I work for myself? If your answer is no, you need to change. You need to become the person that you want to work for. Become the boss that we all love and enjoy. I can think back in my own career. Amanda was one of the best bosses that I've ever had. Pooja, one of the best bosses that I've ever had. Would you work for yourself? Number 7. These are some signs that you're on the right track, okay? So how do you know when product marketing is established? This whole presentation has been about establishing it. But what are some signs that you can point to and say, hey, we're getting really close. The product marketing is now a function and it's established. 4 things that I can point to based off all my interviews. Teams understand the role, right? This is the evangelism piece. You're in the conversations. This is a no-brainer. When teams start saying, hey, where's product marketing? Why aren't they in this meeting? Hey, make sure product marketing is invited to this meeting. They need to have a seat at this table. You start getting some headcount. The team is growing. You've established. People trust it. They see the value. Number 4, a little trickier. Influencing that product roadmap. Bringing those insights in. being the voice of the customer, bringing in those data points that says, hey, if we did this, this might happen in the product. So influencing the roadmap, you're getting real close. You probably are there if you're able to say all four of these. And Vacus used to lead product marketing at Typeform. And he said during his time at Typeform, one of the key things was other teams started including product marketing in meetings. And he said that to him, that's when he knew. That's when he knew that product marketing was being established. So let's wrap up here. In summary, evaluate the risk and the reward. What is the opportunity? Make sure you're evangelizing the role early, defining what it is that you do and how you're going to help other teams. Get those early wins, those points on the board. Think about those two-way door decisions that you can move quickly on. Vision and strategy. You need to be a balance of tactical execution, but also being able to lay down a vision and strategy of what your team's going to accomplish and what the function is ultimately going to own and how you're going to work with your co-champions and supporters. Work with those stakeholders. Get them on your side. Be able to influence without authority. Don't forget your supporters, those people above you, right? Your manager, their bosses, understanding what product marketing does and seeing the value there. You'll want to scale yourself by replacing yourself. Start hiring your team out and understanding that you want to be the boss that you'd want to work for. And then those signs that you're on the right track is understanding, are you close, right? Are you in those meetings? Are you getting that head count? Are you able to ultimately impact the roadmap, right? And a few tips, 2 more tips that is really key, I think, just in your own growth. Grow your network. Reach out to everyone that's been on the podcast. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Grow your network, because that network, you never know who you're going to be working with in the future. Mentors. Think about those coaches. Think about the people that can help grow your career as you're helping others grow, right? These are the 2 things that nearly every single person I've interviewed has said has helped them really grow their career and help them establish product marketing. So with that said, let's connect. Reach out. I'm on Twitter at JD Prater. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, JD Prater, lead marketing for Osmos. And tune in to Thrills and Chills. Thank you.